Hello everyone, this is Natty Lifter and this will be a quick update on the online coach's recent flip-flopping on all his past advice. And I did a lot of videos about that before. I didn't even upload all of them yet. It will take a while for me to go over all my old videos. But I want to do an update of recent events, which I think is even funnier than before. Because recently he started doing again all the things that he used to criticize only a few months ago, so I think it's hilarious. And by the way, I don't watch all his stuff, I watch maybe 1%, so I'm sure there's a lot more from what I'm going to mention here. So this is probably just a fraction of the things I could have mentioned, but I don't have enough time. I don't want to spend my whole life just documenting all the times he flip-flops and contradicts himself, because it would literally take forever for me to do that. So I'll just quickly mention the few things I noticed recently. So a few examples. First of all, remember how he used to criticize Alpha Destiny for always using bands? Wrapping bands around everything? Well, he's now doing that as well. He tries to use more chains than bands because probably he thinks that looks cooler. And maybe because he's aware of the fact that he used to criticize the use of bands, and so he's using mostly chains, but technically on a technical level it's the same thing. It makes it harder toward the end of the range of movement. That's the same as what the band's doing, so that's exactly the same thing. So he used to criticize that, now he's doing that himself. In one of his recent videos he spoke out against intermittent fasting. He said why it's such a bad idea, that it's a bro science, that it's not true, that he doesn't recommend it. But not so long ago he said that's how he lost fat, that's how he did his cutting. And I think a few years ago also he used to say that he's doing intermittent fasting all the time, and he spoke very highly of it, and suddenly he's bashing the people who do the same thing as what he said. And the funniest one of all the recent ones I noticed, and again that's probably just a fraction of all the stuff, is all his recent exercises are exactly all those types of exercises that he criticized only a few months ago. Especially if you look up all his videos about Athlon X, from about 5 months ago, you'll see him criticizing all the exercises that he's now doing himself in his videos. For example, he's now doing one-legged squats. I remember specifically about 5 months ago, if you look up his videos about Athlon X, he was poking fun at him for recommending one-legged exercises like one-legged squats. He was saying, why do you need to do that if you can just do normal squats, which would be more effective? So you're wasting people's time with one-legged squats. And now he's doing that himself in his videos. And the same with box jumps. He was also making fun of Athlon X for that. Why are you recommending all these silly exercises? Just have them do the basic lifts. And now in all his recent videos he's doing box jumps, he's doing one-legged exercises, and he's using chains and bands and all of that stuff that he criticized just a few months ago. So this is laughable. And he's talking about all of it as if he's 100% sure that he knows what he's talking about, and never mentions the fact that just a while ago he was saying the complete opposite. He never mentions that, he never acknowledges that, he never apologizes for it, he never says I was wrong and explains why he was wrong. No, he keeps all his old videos, of course. So if you watch his videos long enough, if you pick a few videos from a few months apart, you'll notice all these contradictions, and it's really laughable. And then he goes back and forth, like a month from now he'll again be saying the opposite. So it's really kind of bizarre, and I'm thinking, is it truly so not self-aware? Does he really have such short memory that he doesn't remember that just a while ago he was saying the opposite? Or maybe he simply changed his mind and he doesn't care about the fact that it kind of ruins his own credibility, because why should anyone trust anything he says when he contradicts himself again and again and again, and flip-flops on every single thing he says? And another reason I think maybe he's doing that is that maybe he is aware of everything I just said, but he doesn't care, and he simply realizes that all the stuff that he's doing now is more profitable for him. All those fluff and puff exercises which he used to criticize. And he said that other fitness channels only do that stuff so that they'll have more footage to show, so that they can always show you strange new exercises, and that way they'll keep their audience engaged and coming back for more, and they'll have more videos. Maybe he decided that, if he just keeps showing himself doing squats and deadlifts and bench press again and again and again for a million times, it's not exactly very watch-worthy. But if he's doing all kinds of more interesting exercises, it adds variety, and so it makes the videos more interesting, and it makes people curious to see exactly what he's doing, because it's not just the basic lifts. So maybe he thinks that will bring him more views. And also because he now claims that he's doing online coaching, that he now trains people, it would be more clever for marketing purposes and to keep all those clients. It would be easier if you have a bigger variety of exercises you can convince them to do. Meaning, if you just promote the big lifts, then it really doesn't take that much time to talk about it and to explain it. I mean, you tell someone, okay, do the basic lifts, and that's it. Then there's not much stuff to talk with them about. And so maybe he decided to do what he previously criticized, and I think partly correctly. He used to criticize all the big fitness channels for doing things the way they do, simply for marketing purposes, simply to more easily sell their workout programs. So they deliberately overcomplicate things simply to sell their programs better. And it's one of the reasons I used to be a fan of Blaha, because I think he was correct in a lot of his criticism against other people. But then later, he started doing all the same things himself. And now we have another example of him overcomplicating his workouts in complete contradiction to everything he said in the past, simply because I suspect, maybe because he simply wants to sell his program better to his clients and to keep his clients so that they'll keep coming back. And so he has to overcomplicate things for them. Otherwise, they'll have no reason to keep talking to him or to keep watching his videos. So I think it's possible he made a conscious decision to start doing what all the big channels are doing. And that would still be despicable, because he's doing things simply for his own personal profits and not for the good of humanity, as he claims. Now he claims he's a better person, that he's now wanting to help people. So that at least will mean that he's not crazy, that he's doing that consciously and self-aware of all his contradictions, but simply made a conscious decision. But of course that also makes him more despicable, because it shows he doesn't really care about people, he only cares about profits. So if he's self-aware of all of this, then that's even more despicable, because that means he doesn't really care about helping people, he only cares about his own pockets. And the other option that maybe makes him less despicable but more strange and more crazy is that if he really believes what he's saying, then that means he has no long-term memory, he doesn't remember what he said in the past, he changes his mind, and each time he thinks he's an expert. He still thinks he's correct 100% every time he talks about something, even though he contradicts himself from the past, but he's simply unaware of it or doesn't care. And so that's one of the mysteries of Blaha. That's why I was so curious to kind of study him, because I still can't figure him out. What exactly are his motives? Does he really believe the stuff he's saying? Is he really so strange that he cannot keep up with himself, he contradicts himself? Or is he kind of smarter but more despicable and is doing things deliberately for money? And maybe it's a combination of both. Maybe sometimes he really is doing the things simply for money, other times he really believes what he says, and he's just not even near as clever as he thinks he is, to say it politely. And so that's the reason we see all these bizarre flip-flopping and bizarre contradictions. And so I could literally spend a lifetime just proving all these points and just showing all his contradictions, but I will have to constantly fight him because he always files privacy complaints, copyright strikes. He complains to YouTube that channels that criticize him are harassing him. And so I'm not sure it's worth my time to spend my time creating videos to expose all his BS, when I could really be doing better stuff with my life. So I think I will still be doing a few videos on all these topics, but maybe I'll do that without even mentioning his name, simply to give what I think is the best information. And I'm not claiming to be an expert myself, but a few of these topics which I think I have enough knowledge, and also if I have personal experience with them, then once in a while I will be doing videos about those topics specifically and without even mentioning his name, because I also don't want to give him that commercial. If I'm going to do a lot of videos on all these topics, I don't want to mention him in every single video, because that would basically give him free publicity for people who might stumble to my videos who don't know about him. So I don't want to do that, and so maybe I'll just use code names, I won't say his name. Also, it will prevent him from complaining to YouTube that I'm harassing him by criticizing him, because that's what he's been doing to silence all the criticism. He's been complaining to YouTube that we're bullying him if we simply talk about all his self-contradictions, his lies, his attacks against other channels. If we talk about that, then we are guilty of bullying and harassment, which I think is ridiculous, but that's the way YouTube works right now. They don't really look at all the evidence, they simply take a general look, and if it seems wrong to them and you're a small channel, you have no way to contact them directly to explain yourself, then your channel is a danger. His channel got immune somehow, probably because he got so many false strikes. People tried to destroy his channel, and so they flagged him for no reason, and so YouTube kind of started ignoring flagging against him, which is too bad, because I think he did violate a lot of rules a lot of times, and if people would have really complained only about those specific things that really did violate the rules, then he would have been gone a long time ago. But I think a side effect of all that big hate campaign against him actually gave him immunity. Also, after a channel gets over 100,000 subscribers, he's able to talk with a person on YouTube, and so that usually protects such a channel, and so he can get away with a lot more things than other people can. A small channel cannot get away with all that kind of stuff, and so we have to be careful. That's why I'm being polite. I try not to curse in my videos, and maybe I'll simply start using code names and not to give any names, as not to be seen as if I'm insulting another person, which is now no longer allowed on YouTube. I made a whole video on that on my other channel, about the new YouTube policies, so you can check it out if you're interested. So that's all I have to say about it for today. I hope it's been informative. Many more videos are coming. I'm not done. And as for all my older stuff, I will try to upload most of it, all the most interesting or funny videos in the near future, after I go over them to make sure none of those videos violate any rules, and so I will have to modify some of them maybe, but eventually I will upload all the funniest or most important and most educational videos. I will try to upload all of them. So that's it for now, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.